Good evening, Vakashu. Good evening, everybody. Where I am right now, I just wanted to. I was looking at my life actually, and I realized it has been 30 years ever since I left home, ever since I completed my matric and came to Johannesburg to work. To start, actually, I came as a student and I was going to varsity. And fortunately for me, because I was doing and what we call an in-service training, whereby as you study you get some salary. It was not even a stipend, it was a fully fledged salary. So there are some things that I really wish that I knew then, that I know now, that would have made a huge difference in my life. So I am entitling this advice to my 18-year-old self, or advice to me when I got my first salary. These are the things that I really want to advise to the children, as some of them will be starting to get a salary and some of them will be going to varsity, and we start having the NSFAS money, the bursary and everything. Some of us, we never knew about budgeting baholo. We knew about it a little, but we never knew about it to such an extent that it became a norm. We were taught just a few things, and I really wish when I was being taught some things, everything. I remember I was at a boarding school, and my mom used to say to me when I was going to boarding school, she would give me money and say, this is the money, on this money, there is transport to come back home. So she always taught me to say, when I give you money, don't go and chow all of it. You need to ensure that you have the same amount of money that will take you from school to home, just in case of emergencies, or in case when the schools close. You must always have that money aside that you are going to use when you go home. Because I grew up in a family where we didn't have a car for anybody to come fetch me when schools closed. So I knew if my mom gave me, then 50 rands was a lot of money. If she gave me 50 rands, I knew I needed to take 10 rands out of it and save it, put it aside, because that was the money for transport from school until I reach home. So I don't know right now how much will that be in today's money. So what I'm saying, that I learned at the back of my mind. And then I knew that the rest of the money that I had, it was basically for me to spend during the course of the quarter. Remember, I was go boarding school, we were staying there for a quarter, like for fully flat 3 months. And then after that, that's when I'll be going home. So whatever the money that remained, after I've put the money to go home, it was the money for me to spend every week. And I think, guys, I really knew how to budget. Hey, let me not just shoot myself in the foot, because this is budgeting. I think my advice will be to my 18-year-old self to say, hey girl, budget, continue with it the way you did when you were in high school. And then after that, the money that was remaining, I would look at it and then start dividing it by the weeks of the quarter. And then I would divide that money. I would know for every week, this is the money that I can spend, go tuck shop, because that was the only place where we would be spending money. And normally we were buying Gadi Saturdays, but say what MM, so I would actually have a certain amount of money that I will be spending per week. So I would normally just prioritize the weekends, because I knew that was the time when most of us, the tuck shop was open, and we would go there and just buy as much as we wanted. So I think there was a level of self-control there, because I knew how to manage the money that I was given, and over and above that money that my mother gave me. Because then I got born again at the age of 14. I already was taught about paying a tithe. The Bible says in the book of Malachi chapter 3 verse 10, it says, bring ye all the tithes and offering to the house of the Lord. That money that I brought from home, I always, without fail, I always would take my tithe in it, and I would pay my tithe. I gave it to the church that I was affiliated to, and it just opened a lot of doors for me. I learned to pay my tithe when I was still a teenager, because I got born again at the age of 14. So what I want to say, somehow the budgeting was always there. I knew I would always keep my money. I would always prioritize. I would always go there, have self-control, and know the things that I would afford and the things that I did not afford. And things that I did not afford. And I never went over budget, guys. If I knew every week I'm going to spend this amount, I would know what I can buy with that. And I always did exactly that. So I think to even the kids in high school, if we can just learn that, to say, my mother gives me this pocket money, and this is how much I'm going to pay my tithe out of it, and the remaining money, I'm going to divide it into 4 weeks, because maybe my mother gives me money every month, and then I will divide it into 4 weeks. I'll have my offering money there. So I was there. I got, I left. I went to tertiary, and now I was earning a salary. And the only thing that I really wish I did that would have made a difference in my finances, or could have put me very far off in life, was if I decided there and then to say, the money that I used to survive on at school is this much. My mom used to give this much money for me to spend on the weekend, and follow with the same processes to say, my grocery now, because now the food I had to take care of. At the age of 18, I had to make sure I buy myself groceries, I buy myself clothes, I pay for my juice at that time, because I was getting a salary. So I wish I knew or have put in place what my daughter just recently taught me, to say, divide it into half. Take half of what you are earning and save it, or invest it. Actually, but is the better option. Save it or invest it whatever way, and after doing that, the remaining money, you budget on it and say, this is what I'm going to buy for groceries. And after, do the check after that, to say, the bargaining, the cashing in. I was just thinking of the cashing in today, to say, the taxi drivers do it every day. The taxi owners, they do it without fail, because that's where their bread and butter is. So now we forget to do that. So I would teach this an 18-year-old. I think one of my children in the house is 18, and the other one is 16. I'm actually telling them in disguise, So I would actually just say, continue with the budgeting the way you used to budget. Because food was cared for, go boarding school. Now I had to buy my own food. Buy food, buy the necessities that you need to buy, and learn to know how much you are remaining with. And that money that you are remaining with, just check out per week, how much allowance am I going to carry that I'm going to spend, and I'm going to not to overspend in it. That way it gives you a money direction, but save. I've learned recently also to say, if you don't have use for that money now, if you do not have use for that money now, save it for later, when you now know or have the use for it. Because normally we spend it now because we do not have the use for it. We just find a use for it that is not even going to take us anywhere close to our dreams or close to us being financially free. Whatever that you are building at the age of 18, you are actually, is either you are making a path straight, or you are making it all entangler. You are putting yourself inside, and you are chaining yourself. And then before you know it, you find yourself, you are actually over indebted at an early age. you can't live your free life, you are having debts of this and that. But if you calculate, if you do your costs and you start counting your costs, you're going to do well. You are really going to do well. And the second thing that I will tell my 18-year-old self is to say, cash is king. Do not be tempted by the cards that they offer you. You know, at that time, I did not need an account, to have an account. Yeah, the clothing account. And I was just bored one day at the university, and I just walked to a shop close by. It's closed this day. It used to be called Topics. I just walked there and said, I'm here to open an account. I mean, like I was an 18-year-old with a salary. But still, I just felt that I needed to go open an account because I saw other people leaving accounts. And I just did not understand why I did it. So please, stay away from accounts. Stay away from credit. Stay away from debts as much as you possibly can. This day's life has been made very easy. You know, instead of debt, you can actually go and you go and lay by the clothes. You know, we have an option of paying it first before we own it. So that I did not know about, that I did not even follow. So please, 18-year-olds, that money, you're gonna need it one day. You're gonna need it for your children, you're gonna need it for your new house, you're gonna need it for your car. When you don't need it at that particular time, you don't need it, save it. Because for transport, the university had a bus that was transporting us from the place where I stayed to the university. So there was no need for budgeting for transport. Food, we were having what we call the meal tickets that we were eating at the canteen. It was very cheap, you know, that one can actually just eat from the canteen and be happier. But one just got into all this buying habits because like everybody was buying. Rest. As far as possible, the first year of you getting a salary, for those that start working next year, the first year of you getting a salary, please ensure that you don't blow it. Live as close as possible to the way you used to live before you got a salary. Cover the basic things, the food, if you have been fed, just cover the basic things. And then the remaining, save it. You know, don't change the lifestyle so fast. Adjust into it over a year. At the end of the year, increase your allowance to say for this year, my money that I will keep on myself, it will be extra 10%. So that at least you get into the new habit without just crashing into it. Because when you do that, then it crashes you back. Before you know it, you start complaining and swearing at money and say, hey, money is so little. No, there is money in your pocket, and that is money. But we keep saying, chalata or in the pocket. It gets hurt because we lie about it. We say it's not there while it is there. So the best thing is to say, let's change, ensure that you start good money habits. Start good money habits. I always say, when I make an example, is a very close example because of the area where I work. There are people that are, like for this year, I'll just make an example. They're doing their final year at varsity. They are not even getting a stipend. I'm talking about the students, the doctor students. They are not even getting a stipend. They are in their 6th year of varsity and they are finishing. And they are coming out next year. When they arrive in the workplace, these are people that are having a very high salary. They are earning a very high salary. And they are coming from a level where they did not earn anything. And what happened is that wherever they work as the interns, they will be given accommodation by the institution they work for. And if it is off the institution, they will be given transport. I'm just making an example with the ones that I work with. They are given transport to the place where they are staying, which is paid for. because they're the interns. They're getting a salary. They don't have to spend a cent on their accommodation. They don't have to spend a cent on transport. All they need to spend money on is food. And I think food for one person, Bagash, it is not supposed to be a lot. It is not supposed to be a lot. So if you can just calculate to say per month, how much of the maize meal am I spending? How much of them on the meat am I spending? And then from there, you know that this is the amount that I'm spending. So just put an amount aside, maybe 2,000. You take that 2,000 out of your salary. I will just make an example without just giving figures. Maybe let's say maybe you are an intern, you are earning 20,000. And of the 20,000 that you are earning, you just have to buy food and clothes and the necessities that you're thinking you need. You already have a cell phone that at home maybe they bought you. Let's say maybe you do not have a cell phone. Maybe the first salary, I'll get yourself a cell phone. And after that, get yourself some basic clothes for that year. Remember, as adults, we can wear our clothes for a longer time. Buy basic clothes. Just go buy your ones of clothes. Buy pallets of clothes for winter, pallets of clothes for summer. What I mean is that you have different clothes that you can mix and match to make many of the outfits. So you invest in that for winter and for summer. Then you are done, and then you know that the food you are spending this much. After that, the money that you are getting every month is just for your food. And I don't think as one person you're going to be spending more than 2,000 rands on your groceries, including meat. I mean, that is a lot. You can have a lot out of that money. The rest of the money that you are getting, you can actually take it and save it, or put it towards maybe the Uber when you go to work, or to church, or you go out. Maybe over the weekends you want to go to a mall and you don't have a car yet. You can just request. It's not going to cost you a lot. You can just put maybe about 2,000 or so for going around, or 1,000 to go around the weekends, and just for a bit of entertainment. Make a proper budget, but make sure for a half of what you are getting, you save. And then in the coming year, you will be a second year intern. You are still getting that money that you are getting. You saving the half of your money. Before you know it, at the end of your first year as an intern, you are actually having about 120,000. In the coming year, you are also having another 120,000. You have 240,000. At the end of your internship, when you go and do a com service, when you need to leave out of rest, normally I think that's the time they leave the accommodation of the institution. When you leave the institution accommodation and looking for your own, you already have a car. You can just go purchase a car cash and you start looking for a place to stay, So that way you do not spend money, credit to buy a car. You don't have to pay for this car for 5 years. You only did 2 years. When you go and become a ComServe, that money that you have been receiving as a salary, it is increasing because now you are a ComServe. And after being a ComServe, that money, as it increases, maintain the money that you have been utilizing all along. Go high if they need and expect some money from you. Please just give them a little bit, maybe 1,000, just to say you can guys buy grocery. Our problem is that when we finish as a black tax, already we are getting into all these debts. We take over, but people have been surviving without us. And I think they can actually even continue surviving without us a little bit. And then that money, you increase your income maybe by 10% when you go into com service, and then you increase your savings. So if you keep it standard, by the end of the com serve, now you are having another 120,000. You have 360 now, and then now as the medical officer, you can actually just you are getting even more money than you did when you started as a ComServe. And now you have saved about 360,000. If you are patient enough, you can actually buy a car and put a big deposit for a house that you're gonna move into and live in, So it's all about calculating the costs and making a plan. Because at that time, especially as a new intern, as a young intern, maybe you're not even yet married, maybe you don't even have kids. and you start saving for them, that money is going towards saving for them. By the time now you are working as the medical intern for a few years, you're already used to living on half of what you are making, and you are actually making lots of money. You are saving on the other side. You can even buy a car cash, you can even buy a house cash. So I really wish I could tell the young me when I got my salary for the first time to say you can do that. The same applies to the nursing students, you know. For the nursing students as well, I think you can also do the same. I think there is a stipend that they get around about 7,000. If you really didn't have anything before you came to the course, you are just a young child from matric and you are getting 7,000. You can do a lot. You are staying at a nurse's home that is already being paid for, you know, and all you need to do is stay in your room and study and pass. Nah? So what you do now, I would actually say to you as a young child, please, pay your tithe first, put the money for the offering, and then after that, take half of the money that you just made, save it in your first year. If you are going to be saving 350,000, I don't know, 3.5. Let's say you are saving 3,000 in a year, in your first year in nursing, you know. You are saving 3,000 rands in your first year as a nurse, a nursing student. By the end of that year, you'll be having something like 36,000. It's a lot of money. In your second year, you are having another 36,000. You are having 72,000 now. In your final year, you are close to 100 and something thousand that you just have lying around. And these days, a work is difficult to come by as a student nurse, because when you are done, you wait these long periods for the SANG to register you. While you are waiting, while you are looking for something to do on the sidelines, you are having this money that is assisting you, just to assist you with applications, just moving around and doing whatever that you are able to do in the meantime. So our problem is that we always just bite a lot, you know. When it's like we've been hungry for a long time, and when we get food, we bite a lot, and then we can't chow, and we choke. So just take small bites of the money that you are getting, breathe, and plan for it better. And I can't emphasize the importance of budgeting. It is very, very, very important. It is very important to know and to budget, because it guides you on what you really need, and be careful. The other thing that I learned over the years, please don't be afraid to look at your statement, your banking statement. You'll be surprised the things that you find there. Don't be afraid to look at your pay slip. You'll be surprised at the things that you find there and how much you're going to save if you look there, because there are some things that you get charged on. You know, I was speaking to someone, I get like my bank statement. I realized the transfer between my accounts, where you send one account from FNB, you send it to Capitec, you send it to whatever. Then they charge you 30 rands at one of the banks. The other banks, they charge you 6 rands. The other ones, they charge you 10 rands. So, but because you never looked at your statement, you are not able to make that decision properly and say, I'm not going to be staying with this bank if they charge me 30 rands. Obviously, I'll go to the one that charges me 6 rands. You know, I'll go to the one that charges me 6 rands. So, you need to be friends with your banking statement. And just like the taxi drivers do and the taxi owners do, at the end of the day, they know how much they've made for the day. Some of them are not even educated, but the way, I think maybe we need to learn from them. We need to learn from the taxi drivers, the taxi industry. We may not even know, or those are the most organized industry ever. You know, outside my workplace, we have a taxi rank. You just come out of the gate and then you are in the taxi rank. When you get there, if you are using a taxi, when you enter the rank, there's already a man there asking you where you are going, and you tell them you are going to the mall, the close by mall, and they will guide you to there. And then there is a placard, like a card box, a big card box where they write on, piece of cardboard where they write in who left, who is still in the queue, who follows who. They have all that on a daily basis. They are managing that, and they know who is following who is going to which town, who is going to which mall, who left, who is back, who came first before who, and who is going to carry first. They have all that. And at the end of it all, before the taxi driver goes to sleep, before the taxi driver goes home, they go to the taxi owner's house to take the money that they have made. And they will calculate the money and say, for today I made 1,000 rands, here's your 1,000 rands. If by inside the Sokis they made the money on the side, they will also know, from today I made extra money from just being the driver. I get it, sometimes somebody says, take me, deliver me to my house, and as they deliver them to the house, they give them some money. So when they make that money, that type of money, then they also know that today I made 200 rands extra that I didn't give in the cash in. But there is no taxi owner, there is no taxi driver that sleeps without knowing how much they made for the day, how much petrol they put in that car, how much money they've spent, how much money they've made. So Rona, we live and do not take care of that. I find it very odd. I find it very odd, because we go out there and we just buy everything that we sometimes we do not even need. So my young self, I'll just say to them, please make sure you stick onto the budget, and make sure on a weekly basis or on a daily basis, whatever is convenient, make sure that you cash in what you have bought, the receipts, what are the things that you bought today, where they really need it. At the end of the month, sit down. I think if you're cashing in for yourself is better when you do it maybe on a weekly basis or on a monthly basis, to say, for this month, this is what I have spent, so that you can start cutting the costs in the coming months. You know, you'll be surprised if you do not know that you get charged 30 rands for making transfers to other banks. You'll actually stop making those transfers randomly. You know, moving accounts, money between accounts, you'll stop, because you know it costs you 30 rands. You start being conscious of how and where your money goes to. You know, you start becoming very conscious of where and where your money is going to, because you are aware. You know, I think there's this, it's not, I don't know, bait or ing, you know, the ostrich, but when it sees trouble, it just puts its head in the soil and pretends like trouble is not coming. Hey, trouble can see it. I mean, that thing is big. When it's putting its head in the soil, the trouble can still see it, so that you or it can't see trouble. Guys, the fact that you are not checking your finances does not take the problems of your finances away. It does not take away the fact that there are some things, creepy people that take your money without your authorization. You don't know. You are sitting here, and there are some things. I changed my bank from one institution to the other, because month end there was just this creepy people that will just deduct money from my account, and I would see it after some time when I check my statement. Hey man, where is this 200 rands gone to? I never made an agreement with this company, and I go to the bank and check, who are these people? Why are they deducting money from my account? And they will deduct like twice. You know, they'll take a 99 rands here, 199 there. Every time there's a lump sum coming in, I realize what they would take money. You'll never know those things unless you sit down and you have a look at your bank account. You have a look at your pay slip. You know, sometimes we work and we talk each other about rope. Allowance here relay. Because you do not look at your pay slip, you do not even know that they didn't pay you for the work that you did in January, and you are working very hard. Let us be shrewd business people with our money, because the fact that I wake up in the morning, I offer my service to the employer, it makes me a business person. It makes me a business person. I give my employer my service, the employer is giving me money. That's business. That's a transaction. We have just made a transaction there. We just swapped. I gave service, they gave money, and both of us walk home happy. So for the business that you have offered, for the money that you have made, you can't just let it go just like that. However, it can be. It can be. So please sit down and have a look at the money that you are spending, and look at other things that are killing your money, so that you can get ahead. You can do things on your own. You are still young, you are not married, but one day you want to get married. Put money aside, so that when that time comes, you don't have to be overwhelmed. You haven't planned properly. You plan. Also, know when you do not need the money. For your kids, plan for them. It's know before you have them, because you want to have them most one day. You don't want to be struggling with the kids. That's what I will teach my 18-year-old self when getting the salary for the first time. Don't be too excited. Don't be too excited. Look after number one and continue learning. So I think today I just wanted to say that's the financial information that I will give to my 18-year-old self, or myself with my first salary. What am I going to do with it? Man, you survived even the first month of working. Now you want to blow it. Don't blow it. Don't blow it. Just go easy on it. Those expensive expenditures, for you are living alone. You are from the rural areas there, and you are living alone. And then still you go look for a 3-bedroom house. For the what? For what, come on, for 3 bedrooms, you are alone. For the day you have visitors, if they come once a year, when you are paying for in case visitors come, it can be. It shouldn't be like that, Baho. When they come, we'll make a plan. We'll buy a sleeper couch. It is best to buy a sleeper couch. Put it in the lounge and have your bed in the bedroom. When you have guests, go sleeper couching. Or at least 2 bedrooms, so that you have the other one for the guests and you utilize it maybe for studies or for whatever that you are doing, or cut costs as far as possible. The cost of living is very high. The cost of living is very high.